Gary, simply put, it was one of the most extraordinary nights in heavyweight championship history. Number one, it was a tremendous fight. Holyfield won it on our card by 1 round. On the 3 judges' cards, it went 115, 113, 114, 114, 115, 114, to give you some idea of how close this fight was. Unfortunately, this parachutist kind of spoiled the party in the 7th round, providing that 21-minute delay. But let's talk about the fight first, Al. It was even better than the first fight.
It was, and by the way, I had Holyfield ahead by 3 points at the end. You had him 1. I think it was better than the first one because of a couple of things. Evander Holyfield fought a much better tactical fight in this fight, though that was interrupted by the parachutist. He lost his momentum after that 7th round when the parachutist landed and they had the 21-minute break. But it was a very good tactical fight by Holyfield. It was a courageous fight, and Riddick Bowe did not quit.
One thing I think we can look forward to is another match between Holyfield and Bowe. I think one of the things that boxing has needed really for years has been a rivalry, and I think we have one now.
Boy, do we ever. Evander Holyfield showed in this fight that when he fights intelligently against Riddick Bowe, uses his jab, uses his hand speed, he can do well against Bowe. And that's exactly what he did here tonight. And Charlie, I'll tell you what, I don't want to take anything away from either of these men, because Riddick Bowe was hurt, he was cut, he was hurt badly in the 5th round, Bowe, but he came back in the later rounds in the fight and made it a closer fight.
What was extraordinary to me were rounds 10 and 11. Bowe seemed to be leading until the last 15 or 20 seconds of both of those rounds. Holyfield came on strong in 10 and 11, won those rounds, and in those rounds, he ended up winning the fight.
And the way he did that was he threw combinations. This was an extraordinary fight. It was 2 different fights, and it changed almost by the minute. When Holyfield didn't jab and didn't throw combinations, Bowe would back him up. When Holyfield got to the hand speed and the double jabbing and the combinations every single time, and the movement, Riddick Bowe was confused and had trouble dealing with it.
In terms of ebb and flow in this fight, this reminds me of Leonard Hearn's 1 that was fought right here in Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. You never had a sense, really, until the final bell was sounded, who won the fight.
It was a very close fight. I thought that Holyfield did such a good job of boxing in the early rounds, in the mid-rounds, that's why I had him ahead by more. But Riddick Bowe came back, especially after that break, and was able to land more power punches on Holyfield. Holyfield was hurt badly in that 12th round, and very reminiscent of the later rounds in their first fight, but he managed to hang in there, and by doing so, won the title back.
Again, I think the big story tonight will be not so much tonight as the rivalry. History, I guess, has been made in the heavyweight division, and we really have to go back almost 20 or 25 years to the Ali and the Fraziers and Ali and Norton and that kind of thing, where there is indeed a rivalry, and I suspect we will see a trilogy here.
I'm sure we will, and we should, because one thing that Holyfield proved here, if the burden of proof was on Evander Holyfield, he had to show that he was capable of staying in there with Riddick Bowe and not just hanging in and taking punishment, but giving it back. And there were times in this bout, believe me, when Riddick Bowe was hurt. There were times when he was in trouble. He was cut over the nose, cut over the eye. But even with all that, Riddick Bowe was able to suck it up, and I think fight very well in some of those later rounds. And yes, they've set up a 3rd match, and this is one of those cases where setting up a rematch is a very healthy thing for boxing.
It's certainly needed in this case, certainly in the heavyweight division. Al, what was your take on the parachutist? Not so much him, but what happened after the fight and who it might have affected, either Holyfield or Bowe.
Well, I'll tell you what, at the time I felt like it affected Holyfield in a more negative way because it was cold out there. They had to both stand there. That's both fighters. But when you're the bigger puncher, as you are Bowe, I think that the chances are that when a fighter's cold, you might nail him with something. And the other thing I got to say, I do not think they did a great job in Holyfield's corner of keeping him focused after that break on doing what he was supposed to do. He stopped throwing jabs and stopped throwing combinations for about 2 rounds afterwards, Charlie. They didn't remind him enough to do it, and he wasn't mentally focused enough to do it, so he himself allowed that delay to hurt him.
Something you touched on a bit earlier about Holyfield's tactics. Early in the fight, he elected to go toe-to-toe. He was most successful when he boxed and was able to double up on his jabs. But when he went back to what he did in the first fight, that's when he got himself in trouble.
He did, and even though some people might say, well, yeah, but he hurt Bowe a couple times during those rounds when he went on the inside, and he did, but sometimes he lingered there too long, and Riddick Bowe, is one of the best inside fighters in boxing. Eddie Futch, the master trainer, has taught this man, even though he's a very big man at 6'5", how to throw the uppercut, how to work the body. And it was only in the later rounds when Holyfield had Bowe a little tired that he was worked well on the inside. Holyfield had enough discipline in this fight, though, not to revert back to the slugging with Bowe throughout the fight, which is what created the loss for him last time. And I'll tell you what, the thing that's fascinating to me about this bout is the fact that we saw a Riddick Bowe who was confused by movement, confused by double jabs, and did not deal with hand speed well. And if I was Evander Holyfield and I was going to have that third fight, I'd lose more weight and I'd work on my hand speed even more.
The promotion was entitled Repeat or Revenge. I suspect when there is a Bowe Holyfield, or in this case a Holyfield Bowe rematch, they can use that title again. Our coverage is just beginning. We are live in Las Vegas. The new heavyweight champion of the world is Evander Holyfield. Our live coverage on SportsCenter from Caesars Palace will continue in just a minute.
You dirty rat.
Stop, 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 stop. Stop, stop, stop. Stop, stop, stop. Stop, stop, stop.
Mental exercise.
Stop, stop.
Course training from Fila.
Stop, stop.
Check this out.
Whole motion. Stop, stop, stop.
Well, the big risk was for Riddick Bowe his heavyweight championship, and 51 weeks after beating Evander Holyfield in a unanimous decision, Holyfield wins the title back tonight. A dramatic fight, an extraordinary evening here in Las Vegas. We had outside interference, and primarily it was the inside interference provided by Holyfield inside against Riddick Bowe that told the difference. Al Bernstein, of course, is here with us now. We're going to take a look at some of the photos of the action tonight. The first round, Al, it was a round in which Bowe came out quickly. He was able to establish the jab, and it seemed as if this was merely a continuation of the first fight in the first round.
He came right after him, Charlie, using a lot of overhand rights after he established the jab you talked about. Had Holyfield rocked within the first 45 seconds of the fight. And Evander was able then to move and box and show us some of the skills he wanted to use in this fight to get through that first round.
I had actually Bowe winning the first 3 rounds, and then in the 4th round, you got a sense that here's more of the first round, and some of that overhand right you were talking about.
Yeah, using the jab and the right hand. He wanted to establish a quick tempo, Riddick Bowe. And I think part of it was he just wanted to get Holyfield out of there. And I really sense that Riddick Bowe didn't feel totally 100% physically coming into this fight. And I think part of the reason that he went after Holyfield so hard early was I don't think he wanted this fight to go 12 rounds. And that was evident by the fact that over the course of the fight, Holyfield had some good moments, especially in the 10th round when he had him hurt.
Did you get a sense that perhaps Bowe was concerned about his fairly dramatic weight loss?
I think so. I think there were some problems for Riddick Bowe in conditioning, whether he will admit it later or not. He wasn't the same Riddick Bowe in terms of hand speed and combination punching, and also in terms of his movement. He had trouble moving against Holyfield tonight.
Let's go to round 4, where some cuts were opened over the left eye of Riddick Bowe, and that seemed to get Evander Holyfield much more confident, much more into the fight.
And this was action right at the end of the round, in round 4. You see Emmanuel Stewart jumping in the ring. They were both going at it. Neither man could stop. And the reason they couldn't stop is both were throwing a lot of punches. They were worried about getting hit with that last big shot after they relaxed. And it was quite a melee, and it set the tone for the middle part of this fight, because it gave Evander Holyfield a lot of confidence, Charlie. And I think right at that point is when Holyfield really affected his game plan, and that was he went in behind the double jab and started throwing those right hands, the ones that opened the cut over Bowe's eye.
And you had 160-pound Emmanuel Stewart and 147-pound Mills Lane trying to break them up. In the 5th round, after that big flurry at the end of the 4th, Holyfield really began to gain some confidence and momentum.
He found a key in this fight. And look, he's starting to throw the left jab, and Bowe is leaning back. What Holyfield did was throw double left jabs and right hands, and it was a right hand in that round that shook Bowe badly, and really, I thought, had him in trouble, and the round only, I think, the time element, the fact that Holyfield hurt him late in the round is what saved Bowe.
You must give credit, however, to Riddick Bowe's corner. They did a terrific job in closing up those cuts.
A very good job. And the one cut over his left eye, I'll tell you what, was a very difficult cut. It was right on the eyelid. And when you have a cut there, it is a very difficult cut to stop. It's a calm corner. It's a good corner. Eddie Futch did a very good job in keeping Riddick Bowe mentally into the fight and refused to let his man lose his focus after Holyfield gained all that confidence in the middle rounds.
Round 7 may have been the weirdest round in heavyweight championship history. Round 10 of the first fight was one of the greatest rounds. Round 7 of the second fight was one of the weirdest, when a parachutist came out of the sky and landed right there. The parachutist, who has not yet been identified, has been taken to University Medical Center here in Las Vegas. He apparently is awake and alert. They are looking at his neck for possible injuries there. At that point, it was 1 minute and 10 seconds into the 7th round. There was a 21-minute delay. 21 minutes after they had gone now for nearly 21 minutes of fighting. 21 minutes of delay, and do you suppose that there was any sense of advantage for one fighter or the other?
Well, at that point, as you look at Holyfield trying to stay warm, I think at that moment I sensed that the edge might have gone to Riddick Bowe, even though Riddick Bowe was having a very good 7th round when that happened. But he didn't hurt Holyfield, and I thought it might have hurt Holyfield a little bit more because Bowe is the bigger puncher, and in a cool atmosphere, it might have helped him. And sure enough, Evander Holyfield lost a little bit of his focus after that delay.
We have some word just in that Eddie Futch, the 80-year-old trainer of Riddick Bowe, has been taken to Sunrise Hospital here in Las Vegas with high blood pressure. And that's the information that we have to the moment on that. It was an extraordinary night, to be sure, Al.
Yeah, and a tough night, obviously, in many, many ways for Riddick Bowe. His wife taken to the hospital. We hope that she'll be all right. She is pregnant. She passed out here at ringside after all the problems. And then, of course, now Eddie Futch is the old, and there is...
that's Judy Bowe.
Judy Bowe being taken to the hospital. So Bowe loses his title. Very difficult night in general.
That is the parachutist who is now being, about an hour or so ago, being rushed to the hospital. We have just been informed that Riddick Bowe has been told that his wife has been hospitalized, and as a result, he will not be attending the post-fight press conference. There will be no interview, as we might not be surprised at that news.
And, you know, the interesting thing about all this, Charlie, is what a difference a year can make. A year ago, Riddick Bowe riding high after his fight with Holyfield. Tonight, faced with losing his title, faced with difficulties involving his wife. We hope she'll be okay. And even Eddie Futch, his trainer, who has had heart problems and has not always been a well man in the last several years, now going to the hospital with high blood pressure. It's just a very difficult night for him and for his people all around.
There's a more disturbing issue here that transcends boxing, it seems to me, and that is how fans suddenly now think they are a part of the event as much, if not more so, than the fighters themselves, and we're seeing it more and more. And tonight we saw it, and this fellow who's been rushed to the hospital is going to get an incredible amount of publicity. Yeah. And that, to me, is more disturbing than anything else.
I have to tell you, sitting out at ringside, it all took on a Fellini-esque quality. As you were sitting there, and I was across the ring when and I could see very clearly the parachutist coming in. There was this moment when, I swear to you, I thought I was in the middle of a Fellini movie, because here comes this guy, bounces off the ropes, and more bizarre was the look on Riddick Bowe's face as he saw Holyfield drop his arms and his jaw wide open, and I could see Bowe looking at Holyfield thinking, what is he doing? And then, of course, he turned around and saw the parachutes that hit the ropes. Very strange scene out there.
So let's recap the night. For the moment, Evander Holyfield is the new heavyweight championship of the world, winning a majority decision. Eddie Futch, the trainer of Riddick Bowe, has been hospitalized with high blood pressure. Judy Bowe, the wife of the former heavyweight champion, has been taken to the hospital. She fainted after that incident with the parachutist. The parachutist is in the hospital as well. Riddick Bowe will not be attending any post-fight press conference. He has elected to rush to the hospital to be by the bedside of not only his wife, but his trainer. Much more to come from Las Vegas. Our live coverage will continue. Repeat or revenge. Evander Holyfield, once again, the new heavyweight champion of the world. Well, actually, Gary, Riddick Bowe has somewhat surprisingly gone to the podium now, and let's go downstairs and listen to the former champion. Well, that was Riddick Bowe. As you can see, he had cuts over here and an especially bad cut over the eyelid on the left side of his eye. Riddick Bowe is on his way to the hospital now to be at the bedside of his wife, Judy Bowe, who fainted in the excitement when that parachutist came out of the sky in the middle of the 7th round. He is also going to visit his trainer, Eddie Futch. Eddie Futch was taken to the hospital immediately after the fight, diagnosed with high blood pressure. Also in the hospital is the parachutist who mysteriously came out of the sky at 1 minute and 10 seconds of the 7th round. That caused a 21-minute delay in the fight, and it seemed to give Evander Holyfield some new life in the second half of the fight from that point on. Evander Holyfield has not yet left his locker room, and when he does, we will join Al Bernstein downstairs, and he will have a chat. This is the end of the fight. When Evander Holyfield came on strong, he delivered some strong right hands, and toward the last 3-4 rounds of the fight, it seemed as if Holyfield had in fact maintained some discipline and controlled the tempo of the fight. Especially effective for Evander Holyfield as you see the end of the fight in that overhand right that scored again. In rounds 10 and 11, this is the end of the fight as you see Holyfield and Bowe in the embrace. It was a very close fight. It was a dramatic fight. Perhaps if there was a turning point tonight, it was rounds 10 and 11 when both seemed to have the advantage in both of the rounds until the final 15 or 20 seconds. That's when Holyfield came on and was extremely successful and won those rounds and eventually won the fight. Al Bernstein is downstairs now with the new heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield. Al?
Thank you, Charlie. You know, Evander, a year ago, I came into your dressing room. It was a difficult scene for you. You'd fought a courageous but losing battle. A little different this year.
Well, I have to thank the Lord. The Lord gave me the courage to come back, and gave me an opportunity to correct the mistake that I made in that first fight. I realized, what I did wrong. I went in the fight. I was in shape. I went to win, but I just fought a bad plan.
Now, tonight, you fought a good plan. You fought very well using the double jab most of the fight, and you had him hurt. Let's talk about it first in that 5th round. You hurt him with the right hand.
Well, I hit him with some good shots. I had to give credit to my strength coach, Lee Haney. He had me balanced, and my conditioning coach, and Emmanuel kept me on balance with the rhythm, and, made sure I stuck to the jab and worked everything off the jab, and that's what I got him in trouble. But, Bowe showed good heart, and he was able to, weather the storm.
Now, in the 7th round, Bowe was actually having a pretty good round when the parachutist hit. You had a view of him, and Bowe didn't. What was your thought right when you saw that?
Well, I seen somebody coming in the ring, and I'm like, and it kind of scared me a little bit.
I guess, yeah.
Because, you know what happened to the girl in the tennis match. Somebody came out there and stabbed her. Right. My whole thing, and I was trying to get out the way. But I'm trying to get out the way, make sure him try to hit me, too.
Yeah, you had a couple of problems there. Now, that delay, and it was a long delay, when you came back out, though, it seemed to me and some of the other people that you forgot some of the things that got you there. You weren't throwing your jab, doubling up with it for about a round or two after that.
After coming out of there, what it did, I felt that it made Bowe a little bit more fresher. I had him, at that time that he would wait on me to jab because he just didn't have the strength, and I was countering a lot. That rest kind of benefit both in a way. He came out there, but I didn't have a spasm in my back anymore either, so I didn't have to go toe-to-toe with it.
You, in the 10th round especially, you looked a little tired for a little while toward the end of that, and all of a sudden in the 10th round, you really turned things around for the 10th and the 11th, which were huge rounds for you. Where did you find that in the 10th round?
Well, I had this minister to tell me, he said, when you get in there, just say it's all done and think about God. And at the time, I started grinding, and I started throwing a hard shot. Bowe was throwing good shots in there, but I was able to throw more shots. And in my mind, I didn't want Bowe to be the most busy fighter like he was the first time.
Will we see an Evander Holyfield Riddick Bowe number 3?
Everything is possible. Right now, I just like to soak this victory in and be able to go to church and thank God and try to tell all the people that don't have courage and don't have faith never give up, because God give you an opportunity to do it again. He gave me an opportunity. I made the best of it and tell everybody get up and work hard. You know, I might be back. Then again, I don't know. I got to pray about this. You know, it takes hard work to come back and do this thing over and over again.
So we might have seen the last of Evander Holyfield.
Wait.
I scared you with that question.
It's possible.
It's possible. So you have made no decision at this
Well, you know, I can't make no decision this time. Don't I be going back and forth.
All right. Well, congratulations. Fantastic win, Evander.
Thank you.
Okay. A scene that was much better than last time I interviewed Evander Holyfield in his dressing room a year ago against Riddick Bowe. Let's go back to Charlie Steiner.
Well, Al, you had the new champion all choked up. Al Bernstein with Evander Holyfield. So Holyfield wins a majority decision. It was a very close fight, to be sure. It was a thrilling fight, and in many ways it was reminiscent of the first Leonard Hearns fight fought here at Caesars Palace in 1981. There were ebbs and flows. It was a roller coaster ride throughout, and then the unexpected, of course, happened in the 7th round when a parachutist came out of the sky, disrupted the fight. Fight came to a halt at 1 minute and 10 seconds of the 7th round. It took 21 minutes for the chaos to finally become, there seems to be some chaos out here behind us now, and we're not entirely sure what it is. But there was chaos outside the ring. When the parachutist landed, he was beaten up, essentially, by some of the fans at ringside. Once that was finally cleared up, he was taken to the hospital with apparent neck injuries, and he apparently is alert and awake and in stable condition. Judy Bowe, the wife, who is 2 months pregnant of the former heavyweight champion Riddick Bowe, she was taken to the hospital after she fainted. And Eddie Futch, the trainer, 80 years old, Eddie Futch is, of Riddick Bowe, he was taken to the hospital with high blood pressure. An extraordinary night that unfortunately has overshadowed a brilliant fight fought by Evander Holyfield, the new heavyweight champion of the world. We'll continue our live coverage from Las Vegas. Holyfield, the new champion of the world. SportsCenter continues in just a minute. 51 weeks ago, Riddick Bowe won the heavyweight championship of the world from Evander Holyfield. 51 weeks later, Evander Holyfield has wrested it back from Riddick Bowe. Al Bernstein is now with the manager of Riddick Bowe, Rock Newman. Al?
Thank you, Charlie. This has been a tough and emotional night for Rock Newman and Riddick Bowe and all the people surrounding him. First, let's talk about some of the bizarre aspects of this. The parachutist, which caused Judy Bowe to faint, and she is pregnant. She's at the hospital now. Do you have any word on how she is?
I think Judy's going to be okay. She was overcome with emotions, and she's pregnant.
Correct.
And she was quite upset. But as she was leaving, she seemed to be calming down, and they were taking her what was, I hope, a precautionary measure.
Was she sitting near where the parachutist is?
She was sitting about 6 feet away from where the parachutist came in.
Eddie Futch is in the hospital now for high blood pressure. What's the status of him?
Well, a little concerned about Eddie. You know, I saw them put that mask on his face. You know, this was a crazy night. I mean, there was a lot of pressure. It was a very intense fight, and you know, I've never seen anything like this. And Eddie, with all the commotion in the ring, he is 83 years old. He
has had a lot of heart trouble as well.
He was overcome and had difficulty breathing. So, my God, I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I want to focus in on something that might get lost in the shuffle. There were a lot of problems here tonight. There were a lot of strange events. Riddick Bowe was cut over his nose and his eye, and yet lost a very close fight to Evander Holyfield. So in some sense, you guys have to be very proud of his effort tonight.
Let me tell you something. Just like when Riddick went to the Olympics and he didn't come home with the prize, this fight here is one I am as proud of Riddick's performance tonight as I am of any of his victories. He had a nick here and a nick there, but we absolutely will not make an excuse. On tonight, he conducted himself and he performed as well as he possibly could, and it wasn't quite enough in the judges' eyes. It's another experience in his career.
Two things. One, I would assume you guys are impressed also with the fact that Holyfield was able to fight a much smarter and better fight. And secondly, what about the scoring you think is fair?
My vantage point, which is not the most objective.
You might argue with it.
I thought that Riddick, by winning the 12th round, had eked out the victory. But the judges didn't think so. I said going in, I thought they were the best judges at ringside in the world. I still think the judges at ringside are excellent judges. I really can't quarrel with their decision.
Okay, and Evander, good performance by him.
I take my hat off to Evander.
I didn't think I was going to see that hat come off in this promotion.
I take my hat off to Evander Holyfield, Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel, congratulations.
Good effort by Riddick.
Good job by you guys. And Evander Holyfield is a class act, and we wish him well.
Congratulations on a good effort to Riddick.
Thank you very much.
Well, Rock Newman showing graciousness, if there's such a word, in victory. Emmanuel Stewart, you got a champion again, and many people doubted that he could do it, and many people doubted whether he could do it at this slightly higher weight, but he was able to box effectively.
He fought a beautiful fight. It's one of the few times in your life where everything that you planned worked out. He was trained to outbox Bowe and to outslug him. And so we didn't train because realistically we know we were going to get in some exchanges. Yes. But he slugged smarter this time. He slugged at a tighter distance where he was able to turn off punches where Bowe was a little bit more longer with
and
his
it
punches.
Seemed he wasn't as enamored with just the left hook as last time. It seemed like he was mixing his arsenal better.
No, he mixed up. He thought a lot of little left hook right hands from outside. Then he would get in close, and then he would turn short left hooks and right hand and uppercuts. He fought a very good fight. He fought a perfect pattern fight.
How does it feel to have a heavyweight champion of the world and be back in the championship picture?
Feels very good, and the hitman back too, so I had a good night.
You had a very good night. Congratulations. Emmanuel Stewart, a double winner tonight. A lot of class here at ringside. We'll go back to Charlie.
All right, Al, two classy gentlemen tonight, one in victory and one in defeat. Emmanuel Stewart, the trainer of Evander Holyfield, and Rock Newman, of course, has many more things to worry about tonight beside the loss of his champion, Riddick Bowe. That's it from Las Vegas for the time being. We'll have more on the 2 a.m. Eastern Time edition of SportsCenter. The winner and new heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield.
Thank you very much, Charlie. There were a number of other things going on throughout the fight, Gary. One of the stranger ones that Al Bernstein referred to, and we even heard Evander Holyfield talking about his reaction to it when they were fighting here in the 7th round. As we look at the action, a parachutist landed, came from out of the sky, pulled some scaffolding and went into the ropes, was not injured when he landed, was later taken to the hospital, and according to a hospital spokesman, he is awake, alert, x-rayed, and there does not appear to be any broken bones. You have to wonder, with what happened Monica Seles, some of the baseball games, the Wisconsin fans, and now this, fans may be overstepping the boundaries, going too far and becoming part of the action. Certainly it did have some effect on the heavyweight championship fight.
You can see he had a fan on his back, and I think that may have affected some of the people there. I thought they were refreshed after the 7th, a 20-minute delay. They both came out smoking. Could have helped Holyfield, just a third heavyweight to come back and win his title. Witherspoon did it against another man, only the second to do it against the man that took his title. Ali had done it, and Floyd Patterson did it as well. 5 of his last 6 fights have gone the distance. He's gone 4 in a row now. He's now 30-1 as he resumes his championship. Lennox Lewis watched the fight. That's one thing that had changed. The WBC part of his belt is now Lewis's. He'd like to meet him for a unification in March. We'll see what Evander thinks.
And you can bet that Bowe and Holyfield will have a rematch. SportsCenter in 1 hour has all the details.
Steve, it was an extraordinary night to be sure here at Caesars Palace. Repeat or revenge? As a matter of fact, it was both, as Evander Holyfield has regained his heavyweight championship of the world and gained a measure of revenge in the process. The fight itself was almost secondary to some of the incredible occurrences here tonight. Holyfield was an extraordinary performer, a very close, hard-fought fight to be sure, but there were some extraneous circumstances. Let's go to the highlights now, and I'll tell you what we mean. In the 4th round of a very close fight to this point, at the end of the round, a free-for-all ensued. 160-pound Emmanuel Stewart got his man out of the way, and the referee, 140-pound Mills Lane, got his guy out of the way. 7th round, this is where it all got very weird. The parachutist. The fight was stopped for 21 minutes while this guy, whose identity has still not been made known, was carted off. The fight ended this way, and Holyfield was declared the champion by a majority decision. Evander Holyfield now with a record of 30-1. Riddick Bowe is now 34-1. A remarkable performance for Holyfield. Al Bernstein talked to him immediately afterwards.
Thank you, Charlie. You know, Evander, a year ago, I came into your dressing room. It was a difficult scene for you. You'd fought a courageous but losing battle. A little different this year.
Well, I have to thank the Lord. The Lord gave me the courage to come back and gave me an opportunity to correct the mistake that I made in that first fight. I realized, what I did wrong. I went in the fight. I was in shape. I went to win, but I just fought a bad plan.
Now, tonight, you fought a good plan. You fought very well using the double jab most of the fight, and you had him hurt. Let's talk about it first in that 5th round. You hurt him with the right hand.
Well, I hit it with some good shots. I had to give credit to my strength coach, Lee Haney. He had me balanced, and my conditioning coach, and Emmanuel kept me on balance with the rhythm, and made sure I stuck to the jab and worked everything off the jab, and that's what I got him in trouble. But Bowe showed good heart, and he was able to weather the storm.
Now, in the 7th round, Bowe was actually having a pretty good round when the parachutist hit. You had a view of him, and Bowe didn't. What was your thought right when you saw that?
Well, I seen somebody coming in the ring, and I'm like, and it kind of scared me a little bit.
I guess, yeah.
Because you know what happened to the girl in the tennis match? Somebody came out there and stabbed her.
Right.
My whole thing, and I'm trying to get out the way. But I'm trying to get out the way, make sure him try to hit me too.
Yeah, you had a couple of problems there. Now, that delay, and it was a long delay. When you came back out, though, it seemed to me and some of the other people that you forgot some of the things that got you there. You weren't throwing your jab, doubling up with it for about a round or two after that.
After coming out of there, what it did, I felt that it made Bowe a little bit more fresher. I had him, at that time that he would wait on me to jab because he just didn't have the strength, and I was countering a lot. That rest kind of benefited both in a way. He came out there, but I didn't have a spasm in my back anymore either, so I didn't have to go toe-to-toe with it.
You, in the 10th round especially, you looked a little tired for a little while toward the end of that, and all of a sudden in the 10th round, you really turned things around for the 10th and the 11th, which were huge rounds for you. Where did you find that in the 10th round?
Well, I had this minister to tell me, he said, when you get in there, just say it's all done and think about God. And at the time, I started grounding, and I started throwing a hard shot. Bowe was throwing good shots in there, but I was able to throw more shots. And in my mind, I didn't want Bowe to be the most busy fighter like he was the first time.
Will we see an Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe number 3?
Everything is possible. Right now, I just like to soak this victory in and be able to go to church and thank God and try to tell all the people that don't have courage and don't have faith, never give up, because God give you an opportunity to do it again. He gave me an opportunity. I made the best of it. And tell everybody get up and work hard. I might be back. Then again, I don't know. I got to pray about this.
Well, that was Evander Holyfield's answer to the question of whether or not we will see a Holyfield Bowe 3. Al Bernstein joins us now. What do you think?
I would like to see an Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe number 3, and I think two things. I think Riddick Bowe can fight better than he fought tonight, that's for sure. And guess what? I think Evander Holyfield can fight better than he fought tonight. He employed his plan to about 80% of his effectiveness. Emmanuel Stewart said that in the press conference. I actually think that they can create an even better fight if they fight a 3rd time, and I think we're going to see it.
What's most unfortunate, it seems to me, is that the greatness of this fight, and it was an extraordinary fight tonight to be sure, has been overshadowed by this parachutist.
Yeah, it really was to a great extent, because it created a strange situation and also leaves doubt in people's minds what would have happened had the fight just continued without any interruption. And I think that having taken something away from this fight, we have to restore in people's minds the idea that it was a great fight.
And that 7th round when the parachutist came in, Holyfield was suffering some back spasms at that point.
Yeah, which we only found out after the fight. So in a way, it did benefit Evander Holyfield a little bit, although I thought Bowe benefited a little bit from it as well. And remember, Bowe was having a very good 7th round, obviously partially because of those back problems, but spectacular performance by Evander Holyfield, and in some ways by Riddick Bowe, who I suspect, Charlie, wasn't in as tip-top condition for this fight as he would like to be. This time, I think the weight loss did have some impact on him, and I don't know if he was as sharp tonight as he could be.
But give Riddick Bowe all the credit in the world. He was very classy in defeat, to be sure.
Listen, there's no excuses. Evander Holyfield fought a better fight tonight. I can't take none away from him. I'm not going to stand here and say I fought the wrong fight. Or I did the wrong things. I thought the fight was close going into the last round, and I thought if I won it by knocking him down or whatever the case may be, I would get the decision. But unfortunately, for myself, the judges saw different. So again, I'm not a sore loser. I had, as Mike Tyson would say, I had 34 good nights. And so again, I have to take my hat off to Evander Holyfield. He was determined. Even perhaps he wanted it more than I did. So hey, what can I say?
Riddick Bowe left the press conference. He answered just a few questions and then hurried to the hospital to be at the bedside of his wife, Judy Bowe, who is 3 months pregnant. She fainted in the aftermath of that parachutist who came down halfway through the 7th round. Her condition at this hour is stable. We are not sure whether or not she will spend the night in the hospital or not. Meanwhile, the parachutist, he too is hospitalized. Possible neck injuries, the details of which have not been revealed by the medical authorities as yet. He seemed to land okay, but after he came down, he was pummeled by several fans, and so he was rushed off to the hospital. One other hospital report tonight, 83-year-old Eddie Fudge, who has had a history of heart condition, the trainer for Riddick Bowe. He was rushed to the hospital immediately after the fight with heart palpitations. We understand he's going to be okay, but he is in the hospital tonight. And so that's the story for the moment from Las Vegas. We will have much more on the retaining or regaining of the title, actually, by Evander Holyfield, a majority decision over Riddick Bowe, and it's just a tremendous fight tonight here at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. Let's go back to Sports Center now and Craig Kilborn. Craig, welcome back to Caesars Palace, where over the years they have had some historic fights, but this one may in fact take the cake for so many reasons. We have an update now on the parachutist. We are told, in fact, it was not a parachute, but something that's been described as an ultralight vehicle. There was a motor behind him. From his point of view, the good news is he's been released from the hospital. The bad news is he was immediately placed under arrest. His identity has not yet been made known. Right after he came out of the sky, a minute and 10 seconds into the 7th round, there was chaos, as you might imagine, around the ring. And Judy Bowe, the wife of the former heavyweight champion of the world, who is 3 months pregnant, fainted in the rush. She was rushed to the hospital, and immediately after the fight, Rock Newman, the manager and close friend of Riddick Bowe, was asked why he did not tell the champion during the fight that indeed his wife was hospitalized.
If we had told Riddick about Judy, he'd have come out of that ring. If I told him that his pregnant wife had gone to the hospital, he would have come out of that ring. Whatever the consequences be damned, you'd have seen even more of a bizarre night. Because if anybody had informed him of that, he'd have got his butt right out of that ring.
One thing about Rock Newman tonight, and Riddick Bowe for that matter, they especially distinguished themselves in defeat.
Extremely gracious. It's not something in truth that Rock Newman has been known for. He's a contentious guy in the boxing arena, but tonight he was extremely gracious in losing, as was Riddick Bowe. And I thought the one thing that was especially nice about this was they gave Evander Holyfield all the credit in the world, and they even acknowledged that he fought a smarter fight this time, not just that he fought better.
Let's look ahead a little bit while we have a moment to the heavyweight boxing scene. I think maybe the biggest loser of the night tonight was Lennox Lewis, who thought perhaps he was going to get a hold of Riddick Bowe, or perhaps he was going to get Evander Holyfield. Well, it looks like the fight that's on the front burner would be a rematch between Bowe and Holyfield.
Well, we were all talking, weren't we, a little while ago about the Bowe-Lewis fight. When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? They waited too long. It ain't going to happen now.
Well, that's it from Las Vegas for the time being. We will continue our coverage tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock Eastern Time on Sports Weekly. Al and I will be back live, a little bloodshot and bleary-eyed, no doubt. But till then, for Al Bernstein, Charlie Steiner, ESPN at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. Let's go back to Sports Center and Craig.
Welcome back. We told you Evander Holyfield is once again the heavyweight champion of the world as he defeats Riddick Bowe.
That's right. Did you know Holyfield becomes only the third heavyweight to win back the title from the man he lost it to? The others, Floyd Patterson over Ingemar Johansson in '60 and Muhammad Ali over Leon Spinks in 1978. Much more coming up on Sports Center.
Bowe said he didn't know what Holyfield was running from. A TV blimp picked up the parachutist right above Caesars, descending towards the outdoor ring. The ringside camera then picked him up. You see the interloper, who does not deserve to be identified, tangled up in the ropes near Bowe's corner. He would later be charged with a misdemeanor for dangerous flying, released on a $200 bail. He was immediately engulfed by security. Nearby, a pregnant Mrs. Judy Bowe has fainted. She was rushed to University Medical Center. She is fine. She has been released from the hospital. The now former champion recounted the scary incident.
We will.
When I saw Evander Holyfield bail out, and he was actually looking in the sky, and the referee got between us. And when I turned around and I saw the guy hanging there, I was rather shocked. I was very surprised. And the whole incident, my wife was actually sitting right behind me, so I can look at her and see, how she was reacting and exactly what was, taking place. I mean, I'm not one to make excuses, but I saw that she was having a bit of a trouble, and I guess it, kind of, took me, out of my fight plan. But, again, I'm not going to take anything from Evander Holyfield, and this evening he was the better fighter.
One other medical update, Eddie Futch, who is Bowe's trainer, he was hospitalized Saturday night. He complained of being dizzy. He was released Sunday morning. Apparently, he is fine.
A lot outside the ring. We've got lots more from Vegas later. We'll show you how Evander Holyfield won back that belt and hear from all the principals about what lies ahead now in the heavyweight division. Back to boxing, and in addition to the chaos that surrounded Saturday's bout, the 12 rounds between Riddick, Bowe, and Evander Holyfield in their rematch provided some of the most compelling action in recent heavyweight history. Bowe had taken the first 2 rounds, then Holyfield went on the attack, especially here in the 4th round, when after the bell there was still a flurry. He bloodied Bowe, then they would go back and forth through the next few rounds. In the 10th and 11th, Holyfield the real aggressor, but they were almost dead even going to the 12th. Then shades of a year ago in the 10th round, they just went blasting at each other again after the bell. But just the first loss in 35 professional fights for Bowe as Holyfield takes back his title. And in all those fights, Bowe has only gone the distance twice. Both of those against Evander Holyfield, who likes to go 12. 5 of his last 6 now have gone the distance, including the 2 he fought with Riddick Bowe.
And he's built on endurance. I mean, he prepares for that. If these two are going to stage a trilogy, though, it's going to have to wait. Holyfield faces a mandatory title defense against Michael Moore, who stepped aside to allow this rematch between Bowe and Holyfield.
In addition to the outcome, the other major change a year later in the rematch is that Lennox Lewis now holds the WBC portion of the belt Bowe took away. Charlie Starner takes a long, hard look into the heavyweight crystal ball to give us a peek at what the future holds.
As the sun sets here in Las Vegas, almost 24 hours after Evander Holyfield regained the heavyweight championship of the world. The promotion was entitled, appropriately enough, Repeat or Revenge, and on Saturday night, Evander Holyfield got a little bit of both. Now, what's next in the heavyweight division? Will there be a Holyfield Bowe 3? We talked to a lot of the participants who may be involved in making that match.
And he was like, well, what do you think we go from here? I mean, what do you think we can do? I said, well, we just have to be prepared to do it like we did it before, work to do it, to get where we have to be. It'll be still an exciting time. If this is what you want to do, you will be provided with another opportunity to fight for the heavyweight championship, provided that's what you want to do.
I think with a guy like Evander, we bring the best out of each other. And I think the only guys that can beat us are us. And so I think doing it a 3rd time would be great. I would love it.
I've been in it for 23 years, and now I'm champion of the world again, and I'm already undisputed because Bowe didn't lose the title, didn't lose the first one. So it's like, with me, it really ain't nothing to really go out there and get unless I have a different type of spirit about it. And I have to find something that would motivate me to get back in there.
He didn't come back for the money, didn't really come back for the belts. He came back to try to prove to people that he could beat Riddick Bowe, and he did that. I don't know what he's going to do, and I don't think we're going to know for a couple of weeks.
How appealing is the thought of a 3rd fight with Riddick Bowe to you?
Well, it's all depends if I fight again. If I fight again, I would fight Bowe again because I feel that I gave him an opportunity, he gave me an opportunity, and when you look at it, it's just like Ali and Free.
And Al Bernstein joins us now. What do you see in the immediate future?
I'm going to suggest a logical possibility for the heavyweight division. Thus, it's not going to happen. First of all, Michael Moore is the mandatory guy to fight the winner of the Holyfield-Bowe fight. It was Holyfield. I say Holyfield should fight Michael Moore. Riddick Bowe should go fight Jorge Gonzalez, put us all out of our misery and eliminate him from the heavyweight mix. And Michael Bent, the WBO champion, should go fight Lennox Lewis, and then the winners of all of those should get together.
I'm not entirely sure Evander Holyfield's going to be around that long for that eventuality to happen. If I had my druthers, let Bowe and Holyfield get back into the ring 6 months from now.
Not a bad idea either. You could make that scenario. And certainly, people would like to see the 3rd Bowe-Holyfield fight. And even all those other guys in the mix would probably get a kick out of it just as spectators.
It's something that boxing desperately needs, a couple of personalities, a real live rivalry, and we certainly saw that here on Saturday night. For Al Bernstein, Charlie Steiner, ESPN at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas.
Well, Saturday night, our first guest became the only fighter since Muhammad Ali ever to win back the heavyweight title. It's an amazing accomplishment to win it once, then to lose it and win it back is almost unheard of. The fight will be seen on Thursday night on HBO. Here now is a look at some of that action as he defeated Riddick Bowe in a 12-round decision. Look at this. Oh, my goodness. Who wants... Oh! It was quite an active fight. A lot of it taking place after the bell. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield. See you. And if you do really well here tonight, Wonder Bread. Congratulations. That's a great story. I watched that fight. I remember when you came to see us on our old show, and I thought you were just a great guy then, and I was very happy that you were the champion. You lost it, and now you're back. And but didn't you retire after you lost the title?
Well, I took a reception. You know, I was like, you know, right after the fight, you know, I was tired, and that was it for me.
Yeah.
You know, after getting hit like that for 12 rounds, you don't want to see no more of it.
Yeah, I would think that retirement would be high on the list of things to consider, certainly under those circumstances. But does it feel better now that you've won the title back? Is it a different sensation?
Well, yes, it is, because, you know, after being counted out, people said that I was old and I was washed up and I wouldn't be able to come back and win.
Yeah, you know, I never said that.
I'm glad you did.
How old are you?
I'm 31.
30. Old at 31, I guess in fighting that is old, isn't it?
Well, not really young. George Foreman was 42.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but that's a whole different level of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the fight. Why, there were a couple of times right in the middle, like the fourth round, I guess, and then toward the end, the bell sounded, and you guys still kept beating up on each other. What was that all about?
Well, it's almost like being in a school fight. You know, you can't let the man get the advantage.
Yeah.
So, the last time Bowe hit me last all the time, so I had to make sure I was going to get the last lick.
You know, this is how dumb I am. I'm at home watching the fight, and you hear the bell, and you go, okay, the round's over, and you see you guys still wailing away at each other, and I'm saying to myself, I wonder if those count. They don't count, though, do they?
Well, not on the scores, but, you know, individually, do. You know,
Yeah.
You want to make sure that when he go back, you can say, I got the last look.
What about the big delay that everybody's talking about? And I'm telling you, watching it on television, a heavyweight championship fight, and it was a great fight. It was very compelling, very exciting, a lot of action. And all of a sudden, they're saying, well, a guy has now parachuted into the ring. To me, it just didn't seem that strange. You know, I just thought, okay, fine, get the parachutist out. Let's continue with the fight. But what was it like there?
Well, you know, it was quite different because my back was against the rope and I seen the guy coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying to, if I'm going to jump out the ring and try to watch Bowe at the same time, too, to keep him from hitting me.
Yeah.
Like that. It was kind of scary, you know.
So you actually saw the guy coming down?
Yeah, I did. I was the first one. I guess between me and Bowe, I was the first one. And I was kind of looking and I was trying to get out of there at the same time, but trying to make sure he don't swing.
Did it cross your mind during that episode? You thinking, oh my God, I've been hit so hard, I'm seeing parachutes. Did that? That's what I would have thought.
Maybe if that would have happened in the first fight, maybe I probably would have felt that way. Got to tag him in the first fight.
And at the end of the fight, it seemed like you guys are pretty friendly. Do you have an actual friendship with Riddick Bowe?
Yes, we do. We realize that when it comes down to it, we have to fight, but we respect each other.
Yeah.
I feel that for his talent, he has to be one of the most talented big men I ever seen.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. And I guess everybody's talking about a rematch, and I understand if I were you, I would want to take my time with a rematch and maybe fight somebody else first, or are you going to get right back into a rematch?
First of all, I'd just like to just go home and rest. You know, I'm still hurt.
You know, me too. That's what I would like to do, just go home for a nap right now. And when you go home, what is your life like? You live in Atlanta, is that right?
Yeah, I live in Atlanta. I have have 5 kids, and I got horses, and I love riding the horses, and got motorcycles.
Yeah.
So I'm, you know, it's like a little fun park at my house.
Oh, you have a fun park?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about horses? Are you an accomplished rider?
Well, I tell you, last time I was on my horse and I was riding, it's a Tennessee walking horse. It's for the walk. The horse started running, and they ain't tied my saddle up, and the saddle started turning. And I'm pulling on, and I fell off. And I got mad because the horse didn't stop, and I tried to chase the horse and couldn't catch it, so I hadn't rolled it since.
You sure you didn't have one of those Tennessee runners?
Well, it's supposed to be walking the horse. You know, it's supposed to be one of the ones that, you know, supposed to...
Yeah. How is your family? You have a son that plays football. You coach his team, is that right?
Yeah, my oldest son, Evander.
Yeah.
He play on 80-pound nights, and, you know, his first time playing.
And you're the coach of the team, or you help out with the team?
I'm one of the defensive coaches.
Yeah.
And, you know, my son, when he first started, he was very scary. You know, it's probably embarrassing right now for me to tell him on TV, but he played pretty good now because I had to work with him.
He was scary in what sense? Because he...
Well, see, by him being my son, everybody wanted to hit him because they knew he was scared.
Gosh, what a wonderful legacy to leave a child.
Every time we was at practice, and I noticed a kid would get in line just to go against him.
Oh, that's not good.
And so, you know, I had to work with him. So I got him, I lined him up, and I got down, and I hit him. I hit him hard and knocked him down. He started crying.
Yeah.
Like that, and I said, now, you can't hit me back, but you can hit them back. Get down again. I whopped him again. The next time, he went out there and he learned how to hit them other guys.
Oh, well, good. Good for you, and good for the kid, I guess. I don't know. You know, I'm very happy for you, and I really enjoyed the fight, and obviously you enjoyed yourself, and I hope you have a nice long career, or however long a career you want to have.
Well, thank you.
Pleasure to have you on the show, Evander. Thank you very much. Heavyweight champion Evander Holyfield. We'll be right back with Phil Hartman.